It doesn't matter how clean a space looks, kitchen or bathroom. It doesn't matter how hard you scrubbed that sink and how shiny the inside of that sink might be. If your sink smells, all is lost. And it's gross. So in this video, we are going to talk about why your sink stinks. I really had to work hard at saying that because if you say it too quickly, sink stinks, it sounds like blah, blah, blah. Anyway, that's a whole other story. We're gonna talk about why your sink stinks and how to deal with it so that you can have not only a clean looking kitchen or bathroom, but a clean smelling kitchen and bathroom too. And just a quick reminder, if you haven't done so already, to subscribe to the Clean My Space channel. And by the way, this video is brought to you by Makers Clean. You can check it out at makersclean.com or makersclean.ca. It's our sister company where we sell premium microfiber cleaning tools and more. And give this video a thumbs up for Bob Loblaw's Law Blog. And if you don't know what that is, it's from a show called Arrested Development, and it's just a really funny moment in that show.
Actually, I was going to stay in my office tonight and work on my law blog.
Of course, the Bob Loblaw Law Blog. Wow.
There are 3 or 3.5 main reasons why you're going to have a smelly sink. The first one has to do with what goes into the sink. Grease, food, old stuff, soap scum, all of it lands in the sink. And if your sink isn't cleaned regularly and rinsed thoroughly, that's going to build up. Now, the next part to that is the bacteria that then develops by feeding off of all of those remnants. That bacteria can start to be smelly. I'll also group into this section sponges and other things that kind of sit in the sink. The second key cause is either a partial or a full clog. Now, the visual indicator for this is that your sink is going to drain slower. In the bathroom, it's typically a buildup of hair and toothpaste and other things that have landed in the sink and just haven't been able to drain properly. And in the kitchen, it's often food related. Either way, water sits in the middle of your sink trap, your J trap or your P trap, and it just stagnates. That gets smelly, and of course there's a buildup, water's not flowing properly, you're going to notice a smell. Now the third key cause, and this one's pretty serious, is a blocked sewer vent. If a sewer vent is news to you, I'll briefly explain what it is. It's a series of pipes that are built into your home to help essentially ventilate the sewage systems in your home. So it vents out toilet air and sink air. If there's a blockage, that gets pushed back down and right into your home. It does not smell pleasant. So the rudimentary stuff you can do to keep your sink smelling fresh on a daily basis comes down to keeping the things in your sink clean and dry. So your sponge, when you're done using your sponge, rinse it with soapy water, wring it out well, and set it on top of your counter to dry. Don't throw it back in the sink. Same thing goes for any sponge cloths or dish rags that you use. Even these little sink traps can get full of stuff, and it's really important not only to empty them out every day, but I even put mine in the dishwasher once a week because I know how grimy and disgusting they can get. Now think about the job that your sink does. You're pouring all kinds of things down there, things that you should and things that you shouldn't. But your sink kind of develops this film, this layer, and oil gets in there, coffee gets in there, spaghetti sauce, and if you're not cleaning your sink regularly, you get this film that sort of builds up. And not only does it make your sink look kind of dull and dirty, but bacteria can also start to feed off of that film. That leads to odors. And that is also one of the reasons why people say kitchen sinks are among the dirtiest places in your home, because that is where the weird stuff starts to grow. Now, it's so important to clean your sink on a regular basis, and to do this, I use either a dish brush or a sponge. I throw some dish soap in there, a little bit of baking soda, and I give it a good scrub. I rinse it, I dry it, it looks great, and if I'm not seeing any visual oil or I don't feel any kind of slickness in the sink, I know it's not going to be smelly. There's so much more to the drain that meets the eye, and in fact, when it is said that the kitchen sink is the dirtiest place in the home, truly, it's the P trap or the J trap that is the most dirty place in the home, because that is where all of the gross stuff lives. So we can clean this in two ways. We can use a chemical to do the cleaning, or we can use a physical action to do the cleaning. So we're gonna start with some chemical options, the first of which can kind of be like easy DIY stuff. If I'm noticing a real odor, what I might do is I might put a cup of baking soda down each drain, because of course I have a double sink in my kitchen. I will let that sit for 30 minutes. The baking soda does its thing. It kind of helps to tamp down and deodorize anything that's in there, kind of building up. I will then boil the vinegar and dump that down after 30 minutes. Now, I have talked recently about how vinegar and baking soda are not a good cleaner. But in this case, if you've ever seen a daycare room before, you know that vinegar and baking soda create this wonderful volcanic reaction. The kids love it, but it's great at creating something that can physically break down and push stuff through your drain. So that's a great DIY option. Now, there's some products that I really like. Specifically, I've had great experiences with Green Gobbler. This is not sponsored. I've just used it enough times and I've had some weird stuff in my sink and it has worked like a charm. You read the package, you dump the product down the sink, add some hot water, Bob or Tom or whoever is your uncle, problem solved. Now you can also manually clean your drains. This is a little more challenging and you might need to be somewhat handy to do this. In the bathroom, if you remove the drain cap, you might notice by looking down the drain that there's a black film that builds up on the inside. That's just slimy stuff. It happens to everyone, don't feel bad. But again, it can kind of trap bacteria and cause odors. So you can physically scrub that with a cleaning toothbrush, or you can pick up like a long, skinny, bendy brush and just give it a good scrubbing. That is certainly something that you can do. And you can clean the P-trap. Now, I wouldn't do this because I don't consider myself particularly handy. It's at this point where I would call in a plumber if I was having a real issue and what I was trying previously using, vinegar and baking soda or a chemical product wasn't working. That's when I'd probably call someone in to do it, just because I don't trust myself. And WikiHow can only take you so far. If you've done all of the steps we've talked about and you're still noticing there's a bad smell, specifically the smell of rotten eggs, it would be an indication that this is an issue with your sewer vent. So if you've already brought in a plumber, they might have already checked this for you. But if not, this would be the time to bring in a plumber and have them have a look. Because essentially what's happening is gas is trying to escape, there's a blockage, and it's coming right back down into your home. No bueno. So this is something you want to deal with ASAP.
So now you are an expert sink odor diagnostician. How does that feel? Real good, right? Well, I hope this video helped you, and I hope the next time you notice a weird, funky smell coming from your sink, you know exactly what to do. And that brings me to this week's curious comment question, which is, what do you do with your sponge when you finish using it to clean the sink or dishes? Do you wring it out and put it on the side of the sink? Do you rinse it really well with soap and water? Then wring it out and put it on the side of the sink? Do you just toss it at the bottom of the sink and see what happens? Let me know your habits in the comments down below. If you love the Clean My Space channel, you can give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. And remember, we also have a membership program. If you need a little bit more motivation or you want to try something new, check out the podcast that we just put out. This is something we're trying in 2025 where we're doing like a coaching podcast for different rooms of the house. Now it is a video, but it's also available in podcast form so that you can pop it into your ears and walk around and do your cleaning. We go step by step, so I will literally vocally coach you through exactly what you need to do, but it won't. Vocal doesn't mean singing, because that you would turn it off immediately. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.